We're going to hop into After Effects today. I'm going to show you how to use Cryptomattes out of Blender to composite your 3D scenes. I'm going to show you also how I copy an entirely composited scene into multiple scenes to make turnaround much faster on your extra shots. Let's get into After Effects. Okay, so I've got my project that I just launched. It's my 2026 mission statement kind of launch thing. And what we're going to do is I'm going to hop into this wide shot, and we're going to show you kind of what we got going on. I will preface, my computer's a little bit older, so it is a little bit slower. We may have to sit and wait for it to render. But this is the render. If I turn off all the pretty stuff at the top, which is kind of the creative stuff that I did to it, you'll get closer to what a base render looked like, but you'll see here in a minute, it's really not. So there it goes. Okay, so it's closer to what the base render, but it's not. Okay, so let's look at how we use those Cryptomattes. I'm gonna go find my renders up here. Let's close this comps for a second. And I'm gonna go to the wide shot. I'm gonna drag this EXR sequence. EXR sequences allow your 3D app to pack all of your data into a single file. So comes in black. You're like, great. What do I do? Well, first thing you do in After Effects, go to the effects controls, right click, then you can go to 3D channel and you can go to extractor, for example, and say layers combined, right? Boom, there's that looks like crap. Okay, so first things, my color settings here in After Effects have not been changed for this project, and that's totally fine. So I'm just going to add a levels and just bump that gamma to 2.2, not 5, 2, and that gets me closer to what the render looked like in Blender. Okay, so that's straight out of cycles. And straight away, I can rename this to BKG. You can name it to your beauty pass, whatever. I use this as a filler for when I run out of objects in my scene I want to alter with compositing. I come through and I'll fill the background with a beauty pass. That way I'm not having to composite all of the things in the scene. Okay, so I'm going to take that, Control D twice, 1, 2, and we'll call one of them, let's go to the end over here. Let's wait for the render. Oh, that was actually pretty quick. Wow. Shocking. All right, maybe I'll land it on a frame we already had cached, who knows? So I'm gonna composite this little plant here. So we're gonna rename this to plant, always name your layers. Thank you, Ben Marriott. And we're gonna rename this one to plant, if I could spell plant matte. Okay, so on the matte layer, instead of extractor, we're going to delete that. We're going to right click and add a Cryptomatte pass, and let's solo this. And I'm going to put it above the levels, right? Because we really don't need the levels on this one. All we're doing is grabbing a pass. Okay, so you see straight away we get a bunch of colors. One pro tip, if this effect is selected, see my After Effects cursor, right, has the traditional Windows cursor, Mac cursor, whatever. If your effect is selected, we get a selection cursor, which if you try and pan your viewport, like hold down spacebar and pan, it will select things, right? If you hold down the middle mouse and pan, it will select things. So don't do that, right? You have to deselect. That's kind of annoying that you have to deselect the effect, but I guess that's just the way it is. So let me focus in. We're going to composite this little plant. Let me come over here to this Cryptomatte effect. Let me show you how it works. If you click in here, it brings up this little pop-up, right? And we get all the things we exported, in this case, out of Blender. Assets, which are like collections, material IDs, and objects, right? Object IDs. So in this case, I'm going to switch it to object for a second, and we're going to see the difference. So let me zoom back out, boom, and let's wait for this crypto. There we go. So what that did was it gave us all the different pieces of that plant, which is, it's not that hard. You can come in here and try and select, but as you can see, some of that, like this little wispy thing, can get a little bit tricky to select it. So I don't want to do that in this case. I'm going to come back up to the crypto, and we're going to change it to asset. Because in this case, because all of that plant was in an asset or in a collection, it turns it into an asset, and I can just click one time and it selects all of the pieces. Okay, really important now is before you move away from this, go matte only. That way we're only outputting the black and white image from that Cryptomatte. Okay, unsolo, turn that off, don't need it, drop to the bottom. I always put it at the bottom and turn it red, and then you can lock it. Okay, a couple of ways to use it. on this other pass up here. So I'm going to turn off the background beauty pass for a second. We're going to turn on transparency. Okay, nothing's transparent, right? Everything's copacetic. So let's zoom in on this plant. A couple of ways to get that matte layer. And here, easiest way, matte, plant matte. Boom, and change that to Luma matte down here on this little click button selector thingy, right? So now we have that plant, right? The other way, let me set this to no, is go into channel, set matte, and we can go set source, effects and mask, and I want to do plant matte, and it will do the same thing. Oh, and set it to luminance, right? Same thing. I just don't, I think that, like, see, 32 millisecond computation time here. If I zoom out and I turn off that set matte effect and we use a matte instead, it's 11 milliseconds. So in my mind, milliseconds count. So goodbye set matte. In this case, you're not needed. Okay, so what this allows me to do is come in here. I can come into the levels, and let's pull this back out over here. I can say I can brighten that up if I really wanted to highlight it, color correct it in whatever way I wanted to do. If I wanted to turn it blue, really kind of push it, whatever creative direction I wanted, if disco, whatever you want to do with it, right? Hue, saturation, anything, any effect you want to throw on that object, you can now get. The benefit of being able to do that is that you can not have to render your depth of field and your camera blur in render. So in this wide shot here, I can turn on depth of field and wait for it. There it goes. Yeah. And this is just the kind of cheesy, let's go up here, the cheesy kind of, not cheesy, but it's the camera lens blur default in After Effects. It's not top notch, but it's good enough. But once you add everything else in, all of my color corrections, all that stuff, it really brings it back in. Looking at this now, I'm going to take this picture, a little too blown out, maybe go down to like a negative 7 on the exposure on that puppy. Much better. Okay, so it's not distracting anymore. And that's the benefit of this. That picture, like if I can come in here, I can go, let's see, color correction, colorama, boom, colorama, and it's just that picture. Right? And that's super cool. Okay, I don't want colorama. So now how do we take a fully composited scene like this shot and duplicate it out and replicate and make that a whole new shot? So let's come over here. Let's delete that comp. Don't want it, don't need it, and go away. I'm going to go up to my comps. And in this case, because I did depth of field and that depth of field is in a separate pre-comp, I need that pre-comp as well. So I'm going to take both it and the main shot, Control D to duplicate them. I always stay organized, right? I fast forwarded through all that crap because y'all don't want to see it. Okay, so let me open up shot 3. It's the same as the wide shot at its current state. So let's turn off all this other stuff. I don't really need to calculate all that. I'm going to also click the little header at the top of my layers so we can go to my source, find all the EXRs. I'm going to scroll all the way down, go to that wide shot, and get rid of that map, right? So I'm only grabbing the EXRs. Go down to my shot 3, EXR, alt drag it, and drop it. It's going to break your shot, right? Because it's a totally different Cryptomatte. So you're not going to get all of that stuff, right? But this kind of shortcuts you to it. So for example, I'm going to come down to this cabinet mat. Here's how I go through the entire thing and fix it, right? So I grabbed the wrong shot, didn't I? I did. So let's go back and let's grab a different one, whatever. I'm doing this because this is the shot I'm compositing today, right? So I'll pull all that, no depth of field, and we're going to grab shot 3 this time because you're probably all like, hey, that's shot 2, you're grabbing the wrong one. It's fine. Okay, that simple. Just swap it out. Bada bing, bada boom, right? F2 to deselect. We're going to come all the way down to the bottom. We're going to grab that cabinet matte. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to solo it. Go up here and go to my Cryptomatte. Just reset it. That's the fastest way. Go to layer. And I don't want asset. I want objects in this case. I didn't get the materials in this render. I didn't really need it. And I'm going to grab that green and set this to matte only. And now I have a cabinet matte. And if I come up to my cabinet layer, wherever it is, and I solo that, and I turn on transparency, I should have, let me turn off this dude back here. I should have a cabinet, right? So that's how I go through the entire shot, right? And I go up, all the way through all these matte layers, and anything that is still in this scene from the previous shot, I just reconnect it. Anything I don't need, for example, let me zoom in here. If I look at, I don't need any of these. These were a sitting area that's not even visible. I can change these into the objects that are in this scene. So what I would then do is go up here to my background fill, turn that back on, and then watch the shot and say, oh, well, I need this book, I need this plant, I need this, and I go through and I do all of that connection. Then, only then do I come back up to the top and turn on all of my color correction and allow that to take place, right? Wait till the very, very end on the color correction, because you want to wait until you get all of your composite together, apply a base color to harmonize, and then you can go through and apply your corrections. Like for example, this right here, I would definitely, that's overblown in this color correction, and I would start adjusting. One last little pro tip. I'm gonna go back to my white shot because it looks pretty. Once you get to a point where you're like, yeah, I'm really digging the way this looks. The color correction looks great. Let me turn off the grain. The next thing, and one of the last things I always do, is add an adjustment layer, and we'll call this tonal check. And this is a very important part of working as a 3D artist, is learning how to work in, wait for it, black and white, right? Because when you're working in black and white, you see every little detail, right? You see things that stick out. Like this back here, even though it's shadow, it's not pure black. You should never have anything that's pure black, pure white in your render, unless it's a light. Like that right there. That up there is a light, so it should be pure white, but nothing else in the scene should be pure white. Some of it gets kind of close, and that's okay. That was just a personal choice, but I always stop with this black and white. This is really where you're going to dial things in. You're going to be able to see straight away. For example, if I turn off all my color corrections, you'll see a very different black and white image appear that looks more muddy, is often how I describe it. So everything is in that kind of middle gray range. There's not a whole lot of variation in texture, and that's what color correction and compositing is adding variation in texture. So if I turn my base color correction on, I'm gonna drink water while we watch it render. Okay, so that base color correction added contrast, right? I added some color correction, but also mainly I added some contrast. Well, then I come in and I add a little bit of this orange pop that brings everything, that lifts it back up, but also added a little bit of orange, and then I desaturated it, and then I added the grain on top, right? And if I add everything back in with the depth of field, you get a really good sense of what this thing should look like in color. And that's it. It's that easy. Cryptomattes, Blender, Cinema 4D, doesn't matter. All you need is a Cryptomatte pass, and you can have full control over every object in your scene. Depth of field, motion blur, color correction, look control, all of it completely in post. Much faster workflow. Subscribe.